it's over now. They're here in the loser semifinals with a chance to go up against SSG again in the lower finals. So I'm expecting FaZe to win this series if I had to make a prediction, but don't be surprised if Native Red does too. They are a team that's on the rise in that 5th spot, likely stealing the 4th seed and the number one seed in Pool D for the LAN event at DreamHack Dallas. So a lot on the line here again.
Yeah, they're coming off of a Game 5 win as well, so the momentum definitely on their side. We'll see if it's going to help them here. As you can see, it begins to a double kill on a soul snipe. That's going to be 3 down for FaZe and potentially the OS as well.
And with 3 down for FaZe, you're going to have Native Red. They're going to have it's looking like a buffet line. I'll take a little bit of chicken. Let me get some grilled salmon, tilapia, as Native Red are eating whatever they like. They've got that oddball time, 12 seconds and counting for Milk, and a full overshield to work with as well. But an interesting, smart play there. A play ball, sensing the team wipe from Native Red for FaZe Clan. Native Red plays that oddball and keeps FaZe at bay for now.
That was a beautiful play ball. The rotation as well. All rotating towards that B side where the spawns are coming out, but Renegade
Snipe.
Whoop. Beautiful shot there to take out one. He ends up getting taken down quickly though. That's 2 down for FaZe, and Native Red scooping up even more time here as they continue to scrap up as many seconds as possible, and this is going to add up at the end of the game.
Yeah, it's a perfect reference for it, Active. Add up, right? Usually you look for that 30-second checkpoint. You'd like to get it all in one hold if you're Native Red, or anybody for that matter. But Native Red here using the 2, not necessarily team wipes on FaZe Clan, but just the 2 number advantage sequences that they had to accomplish that 30-second check mark. Native Red looking great here at the start.
Yeah, Native Red being very difficult to find on the map. It's like Soul Snipe getting behind FaZe very often. He's got Snipe at the top of tower as well. Potentially going to utilize this to put that damage in. You see Ball does get rotated over. Soul Snipe does see the kill onto Snakebite, but a beautiful trade there is going to set up the numbers. 3 down for FaZe, but they do get that ball and they rotate it over towards the spawns on Nest.
And equally as impressive as the play ball, the preemptive play ball from Native Red, it looks like FaZe is setting up for one, but I don't think Renegade got it. I think despite the rotation, the smart positioning, Renegade does not play that oddball. That is a massive error in his part, because Native Red, they're looking at an extra, that's 10-15 seconds they otherwise would not have had Renegade just simply played that ball.
Yeah, and that's why timing is such a factor there. I thought the spawns were going to come out onto Nest, but yeah, you know, Native Red doing such a great job of pushing the aggression. They force the spawns onto Seaside. That play ball does not come through, and look at that. Native Red now approaching 50 seconds of ball time, surpassing, I should say, 50 seconds of ball time, and they've got a nice lock on the map as well. But it's Frosty who's looking to break through here. He gets a couple shots. He's got the help of Snakebite as well. They get one. Can they get the second without trading? No. A beautiful shroud screen will keep him alive. 64 seconds for Native Red in this first round.
And I say this all the time to the pros that I work with. Objective efficiency in Oddball has nothing to do with milking more time. The objective efficiency in Oddball lies in finding those perfectly timed resets. Native Red had that off the start. FaZe 0 for 1 on their opportunity, and that reflects the scoreboard here. 64-15 for Native Red because of it.
We'll see if they're able to continue with Renegade and the snipe in his hand. He's going to look to do some massive damage here. He gets a second, and now he's got top tower control. You see the ball is on the opposite side of the map, though, so it's up to Renegade to get these solo kills, and he's going to do it. He gets the kill onto Talik as well. This will relieve some of the pressure, but you see those spawns immediately come out onto B, so FaZe has to be ready for that. All 4 dead for Native Red.
All 4 down for Native Red, but look at this. They're getting the dummy spawns right next to the overshield, so that's a helpful spawn off the rip for Native Red. I got to give credit again to Talik for trading out with Renegade. Just as it looked like FaZe was going to get snipe tower control and snipe tower control, it was Talik as the last player alive. Ultimately went down as well, but that trade was huge because it stopped the bleeding and it stopped FaZe from getting this overshield right away. Native Red, despite going at 4 down, they're going to get the overshield instead. Wow. So again, it really goes to show just how on point the positioning strategy decision making is here for this Native Red team.
And they're doing such a good job of getting that ball time as well. Like, you know, being 3 dead or 4 down, they're still able to rotate off a spawn there, get that ball over to A. 80 seconds and counting now. Soul Snipe and all of Native Red on the top side of the map on sandbags. Frosty's gonna go down, but Renegade coming through here, trying to go for the flank. He's got a couple of shots in on the one player, finds Manny isolated, not able to get the kill though. The defense is there. He finally gets it from the grave, and on 3 down for FaZe as Native Red have that positional advantage once again.
Renegade and the rest of FaZe didn't like what they saw, but because of the score and the time, had to desperate there. Almost like being down in a CTF matches. The push was not strong enough or collective enough, as you see Renegade not only pushing in by himself to that oddball carrier, but he's getting shot in the back as well. So again, perfect positioning. Native Red is really baiting this FaZe Clan roster here in game 1.
See if they're able to continue. Renegade gonna grab that snipe once again. Frosty comes out. Audie had a little bit of assistance there. Not gonna find any. Snake bite caught towards the back of B. That'll be 1 dead for FaZe. They get the trades onto Native Red. Renegade with this sniper gonna try to do some damage. They're preventing that push on the big door. Manny's gonna try and push through. Does not, but they get that trade. That's a big kill onto Renegade. That snipe goes down on the floor.
And just as it looked like FaZe and Renegade had completed the really well executed bait and switch, it's Renegade who goes down. And important to note, with the sniper rifle once again. So right time, right place, finding the slays when it matters most is this Native Red roster. They may not be out-slaying FaZe. I'd have to take a quick glance. It looks like it's pretty close. But Native Red is finding the impactful slays. They're finding the slays that take sniper out of the hands of one player and into the others. We see that again. Royal 2 going down with snipe now. Now if you're Native Red, you can't let it go to a third. You can't let that get into the Frosty's hands. It's been in Renegades. It's been in Royal 2. Now you got to make sure it's in the hands of Soul Sniper Talik instead.
Soul Snipe does have it in hand. He's going to end up going down. They take him out quickly, removing the threat as fast as possible as FaZe approaches 40 seconds of time. Druck is playing a great position there on that nest bridge, covering angles, but also doing massive amounts of damage onto B. You see the ball being rotated back towards A. They get a kill on the top center side of the map. Snakebite, a great job of staying alive in this position. And now he's got a massive flank on the side of Native Red. They read it, but not without going down. That's 2 dead for Native Red and 50 seconds of ball time for FaZe.
Look at Renegade. Great mid-game adjustment. Earlier, he had made a mistake not playing the oddball. There, he plays it preemptively, allows Snakebite to pick it up, get a few more seconds of milk, and if not for a more coordinated effort from Native Red, that could have been an extremely heads-up play by Renegade. Nonetheless, it's the heads-up play at the very least.
Frosty, heads-up play to get this OS for the 2nd time in a row. See if they're able to utilize this overshield and build on this massive lead that they've come to have thus far. They get 2 kills on the side of Native Red. 2 players are on that A side, so the rotation will be back towards tower, but it looked like they wanted to go towards A, and because of that, they took a lot of damage.
And because of this 60-second now lead for FaZe Clan, you're starting to see Native Red desperate a little bit, just like we saw at the end of that first round for FaZe. Now we're seeing Native Red desperate a little bit, pushing without the numbers they need, all the while. Another well-timed play ball for FaZe Clan. They have made an incredible, just as we saw Optic make some great mid-game adjustments in the previous series, FaZe is making some equally as impressive ones as well.
Adaptability so very important. Frosty. Sniper is on spawn. Native Red has some ball time being acquired here. We'll see what Frosty's able to do with the snipe in hand, though. Playing aggressive, the spawns come out onto B, and now FaZe ready for the push on through. Is Native Red prepared is the question. Talik on the screen side, gonna take a shot to the body, clean it up with the head, but Soul Snipe gets to double the trade. Now it's a 1v2 situation. Manny, the last player alive. That ball on that B side, and all of Native Red will spawn on C.
Native Red now in a little bit of a blender, as that's been multiple sequences where FaZe has had an answer for every single push. Here we have Soul Snipe pushing down the nest side, looking to open up a break for his team, but he gets taken down immediately with the likes of that sniper rifle, battle rifle team shot from FaZe. As they're now using teamwork to really out bait and switch Native Red, which is what they were doing in the first round. So it's the tale of two tapes that look strikingly similar here as we descend towards a likely round 3 in a match that's been extremely close. And not in the sense that the score's been close, but exactly how strong we saw FaZe Clan in round 1 is exactly how strong Native Red, or excuse me, FaZe looks in round 2 instead.
I think one of the big factors here, and FaZe is going to take that round and tie it up here. We're going to a round 3, but one of the big factors for me is that OS control. FaZe the last 3 overshields in a row, and they were able to also get control of the sniper here multiple times. Like you said, it was switching hands so often on the side of FaZe. Native Red weren't able to get their hands on it themselves. Frosty, you know, again, history repeats itself. Frosty has that snipe once again, and he's going to escape so that he can utilize some angles here and potentially get some damage into Native Red.
Ooh, not only some potential damage into Native Red, but if Frosty grabs this overshield, he is looking at quite the kit, but he's got a pesky Tolic pushing in on him instead on the screen door. He's going to go back to the respawn screen, and Druck changes possession of that sniper once again. That is massive for Native Red because it looked like FaZe Clan, after fumbling and juggling possession of the snipe, has had strong control of it in the last couple of minutes, but it's Druck taking it right back as he goes down.
And he goes down. FaZe have maintained control of these power weapons for the entirety of this second round, and going into the third, 2 down for Native Red. You see FaZe rotating the ball through as they are aware of the B spawns. 1 down for both sides here, so numbers game, the advantage not in anyone's hands thus far. Snakebite takes a lot of damage though, and because of that, he's gonna go down. This break by Native Red, very solid. They end up stopping that ball time from happening. Now they've got to get the snipe out of the hands of Renegade.
Wow, and we talked about the strong stretch of play for FaZe Clan towards the middle of that previous round. It was about tied in Slays active. Now FaZe Clan with a 17 kill advantage, showing how and why they were able to dominate that round 2 on the back of strong Slays. But even despite the strong Slays, you have Native Red doing a good job putting up 18 seconds, but it's Snakebite putting up the triple kill instead and grabbing that oddball, likely regaining the lead here for FaZe Clan on the backs of those Slays.
And you said it yourself, and I 100% agree. The bait and switch, potential out of FaZe as of recent is so solid. You saw everyone the Snakebite was fighting there was weak. Once again, 3 down for Native Red. This will be another overshield on the hands of FaZe, and they're going to utilize this to continue to build that score. 32 seconds and counting. FaZe looking dominant.
Yeah, and the reason the bait and switch is such a strong option for this team active is because everyone on the team is so strong, right? So everybody on FaZe is getting almost like overly emphasized in the comms as far as like, we need to take Renegade down, man. He's got the overshield and the heat wave. We need to take Frosty down. He's +8 right now, right? So everybody on this FaZe team is going to command that level of communication from the opponents they're facing, and because of that, it's opening up these bait and switch opportunities that FaZe has been eating up.
52 seconds here for FaZe. Soul Snipe gets the first initial kill. Roll 2 is going to be down to no shields as well. It's going to leave Renegade quite a 2v1 situation, something he does so well. But look at Manny. That's such a great play there to stay alive. He has help on the side of Tolic. Beautifully played by Tolic and Manny. And because of that, Native Red going to have control of the ball and control of A as well.
And with how well FaZe has looked in the last 5 to 10 minutes of gameplay active, this is almost it for Native Red in a round 3 where you haven't looked too strong relative to how strong you looked in round 1. This is really it. This is where Native Red needs to find those chunk gains, needs to even potentially tie or regain the lead just based on how well FaZe is slaying.
Frosty gets a slay there, but not without 3 down for FaZe. Renegade, the last player alive. He's going to be, I believe, on that big door side. Soul Snipe's going to take a lot of damage here. Renegade going to play very aggressive onto the ball player. He spots the weakness and grabs the ball. Now rotating over towards A, but Manny's there to stop him in his tracks. But all 4 down. They get the trades necessary. And because of that, FaZe now have control of the ball once again, but he doesn't pick it up, and Druck's going to get the nade there.
And you'd almost wonder how we got to a round 3 if you just took a glance at the scoreboard. Is everybody on FaZe Clan positive outside of World 2, who's only -1, but look at Snakebite +3 with 109 seconds. Renegade almost 2.0 KD, 30 and 17, 54 seconds of oddball time. So absolutely proficient gameplay from the likes of FaZe, and now you're seeing it from Frosty as well.
And that's another OS that was in the hands of Frosty once again. Native Red haven't been able to buy an OS in these last couple rounds. 10-second lead. Native Red gonna be eating away at that one. Frosty comes in with confidence in a 1v3 situation when Sniper gets 2 players down to no shields. Backs off, stays alive. As his team pushes in to take advantage of that damage, he'll get his shields back. Renegade will get his shields back, come in and be aggressive once again. And now Frosty looking for those spawns, as there was 3 dead momentarily there. Native Red looking to push on the outside on OS.
Frosty still with possession of that sniper over at green, and you got to watch out before you push into the oddball. You might get a sniper in the face from Frosty, but he is now out of the ammo, not before landing himself a killing spree. And more oddball time for this FaZe Clan roster, just as it looked like Native Red was about to tie it at about the 55-60 second mark. It's FaZe Clan finding an extra 10 to 15 seconds of milk, and that's really been the difference here in this game.
Frosty looking to take a bath. Comes the push here. Roll 2. Lots of damage being added. They're not going to be able to capitalize on that just yet, though. Native Red continuing to scrap away at this ball time. That spike grenade's going to do a lot of damage there, but roll 2 on the side of Mud. Going to get a big double in this situation. The peak shot not going to be enough. 3 down for FaZe. And now Native Red take control once again.
And I talked about the chunk gain that it looked like Native Red needed to earn, but it looks to me like they're just chipping away at this FaZe Clan roster. And you know what? I misspoke, because that makes sense. When you look at the fact that Native Red doesn't really have the slay ability to outslay FaZe Clan, they're going to have to sort of nickel and dime and just chip away at this lead for FaZe Clan, because FaZe, with those team wipes, they're the team that's going to earn the chunk gains. Native Red taking down 2 or 3 at a time is really going to have to play smart Halo to win this one, as they go 3 down once again, regain the lead momentarily, but again, it's FaZe holding strong and holding that oddball.
Yeah, a big factor for me there was that overshield on the side of Native Red. They got their first overshield in a long bit of time, but it was melted completely with the control of FaZe, or the control FaZe had on that top tower in that window. Renegade with the snipe. Once again, FaZe have the snipe in hand. They're going to try to utilize it, but ends up going down. Roll 2, the last player alive here for FaZe. And because of that, Native Red are going to rotate this ball over.
And with a minute left in regulation, just a little over a minute left, Native Red just might out objective efficiency the likes of FaZe Clan, who I can't do the math that quickly, but my God, it looks like they're a 20+ slay disparity between the two teams. But despite that, it's Native Red with the 2-second lead. 65 seconds to go.
They were momentarily 2 down. Soulsnipe gets a trade there. 2 down for Native Red once again. Snakebite looking to take advantage as they have control of this side of the map. He's going to rotate it towards A, and he's got the help of Frosty as well. They've got to prevent this push on the big door. That's the only way. Frosty gets the first kill. The nades come out. He puts a lot of damage into Manny, but Manny's not going to go down. 92 seconds now and counting. FaZe looking to close this out right now.
And he keeps Native Red alive for the time being, but I don't think he has the positioning to take down the oddball. It'll get down to 1 shot. But it's the time that goes in favor of FaZe. Unbelievable performance there from them. And I don't know, it's unbelievable in the sense that they slayed out unbelievable slaying proficiency, but a little bit of that objective inefficiency rising its head up, around the corner for FaZe. So despite the fact that they take the win, a little concerning, you could almost argue, that despite being outslayed by 30, I think it was Native Red, they took FaZe Clan all the way down to the final second.
Maybe that's a blessing and a curse when you've got so many individually skilled players on your team and everyone's, starting to feel good and they're all starting to play well. We saw 37 kills on the side of Frosty, 35 for Renegade, and another player I want to point out, 28 and 24 out of Snakebite, but 140 seconds of ball time as well. So incredible, slays out of the side of FaZe, but I 100% agree with what you said. That objective efficiency, the fact that Native Red were just able to rotate that ball off of a couple kills on positions on the map and just get that extra time, like we talked about before, it all adds up.
Yeah, and I think this is concerning for FaZe in the long term of this series, right? But not necessarily going into game 2, right? This maybe almost benefits them, because they just showed how, if at that rate that we saw in game 1, this should be a spectacular in game 2, just based on what we saw in game 1. And actually had the chance to do the math with a little bit more time. 26 positive is FaZe after that game 1. That's 6 full team wipes without anyone seemingly going down. 6 full team wipes over Native Red, and it still took every single second of that oddball match. Let's see if the same is the case in game 2.
Here we go, game 2 in your losers bracket semifinal. The winner of this will play Space Station Gaming, and Druck has something to say about that. He gets a double right off the bat here, and they've got Royal 2 and Renegade isolated as well. Those spawns in the fridge potentially help if they can get there quick enough, but a 2-2 score line right off the bat. Very close game, of course, as we've just begun. We'll see if FaZe can continue to slay out like they did in that game number 1.
Extremely close off the rip, and I'm not even sure we had much camo utilization off rip with that first camo usage, so that's going to be something I'm looking for the next time around at the 9-minute mark. Which of these two teams can take advantage of camo, because it looks like nobody did off the start.
Here comes the push here on the blue side, and he's the only one inside of blue base. They're looking to take advantage. He ends up going down there in your kill feed. Druck on the top P side. Druck's gonna get another kill. That's a beautiful nade. The anticipation on the jump up. 2 down for FaZe. Make that 3 down, and that'll give Native Red a 2-kill lead.
Don't ego challenge Druck, because he will do exactly what he just... I thought Renegade was going to take him down. And I thought the second player was going to take him down, but it was the grenade headshot combination from Druck. Unbelievable 1v2 win from him, and it's the 2 kills there. That's the difference in this one so far.
I'll tell you something right now. Druck carried me in a BTB tournament win just a few days ago. So this man, I know this man's got some skill here in every aspect of the game. A double kill there from Snakebite, though. An answer back from FaZe. The bait and switch comes out, make that a triple. Yep. And with 3 down, that's gonna be make that 4 as he gets the overkill with a stick. That's camo in the hands of FaZe, and a 1-kill lead is all they get out of that one. What a great job by Snakebite to get that over.
Oh, and one of my favorite overkills we've witnessed in the HCS. It's the sticker grenade, something straight out of Halo 2 that lands on the opponent for Native Red. Overkill for Snakebite, but Native Red, they have the lead. Again, active. This is concerning because we're seeing those standout individual performances from FaZe Clan, but Native Red has the better teamwork.
Native Red continue to bring this close. They get 3 down on the side of FaZe, continue to maintain this lead. 2 down for Native Red. Slow play by Frosty. He's going to utilize the pistol, but it does not work out in his favor. Soul Snipe wins that trade. 4 kills is the lead now for Native Red.
Wow, they're extending this lead. And that is, man, you talk about the mental to get world starred like that, and then just in the comms for Native Red, I assume it was something like, oh well, whatever. Like, what are we gonna do off spawn, right? That was the energy. That was the almost the metaphor that I saw play out through their gameplay, because Native Red handled what could have been an extremely sticky snowball situation with incredible poise. Now up 6.
Yeah, they're continuing to handle that. FaZe does have that top center control, but the thrust comes in from Druck. That's a huge kill. Because of that, they try and keep that top center. Unfortunately, though, Manny does go down. A 5-kill game now and a 5-kill lead. I think that's 6 for Native Red. Roll 2, trying to make sure to utilize this heat wave. He goes down as well. Renegade goes down as well. They're dropping like flies, and a 9-kill lead for Native Red.
Active, what is this game? It feels like FaZe Clan is out slaying in a Slayer, but they're down 9. And then I look over at Native Red, and you got Soul Snipe with 12, but on the other side, Manny with just 1. What is happening with this match? Is the numbers, the players themselves are all over the place.
It just seems like Native Red is playing a more scrappy game, and their timing is just there.
Exactly.
Druck is doing a little bit of that with this kill on his Snakebite. He knows he's got assistance from that card 2 side, so he ends up getting that kill. Soul Snipe gets a kill on the kill feed as well. Royal 2 tried to hold top center on his own. He ends up going down. Renegade tried to trade out. He ends up going down. The caster curse is in full effect, and I don't know what to watch anymore.
10-kill lead for Native Red. Active, this is the slaying power we expect from FaZe Clan, and now it's concerning because if Native Red carries this type of slaying power into the next objective game mode, they should absolutely beat FaZe Clan in that game 3, because Native Red, despite going down in game 1, was unequivocally the better objective team. They just got outslayed by 26, but only lost by a margin of 1. So it just goes to show how close these two teams are, despite what's been a pretty separated scoreboard in the series.
Gotta bring up Mr. Soul Snipe, 17 and 5 out of him, and a 14 and 7 out of Druck. Absolutely slaying out of their minds right now. And honestly, these shocks have been a big factor here on the side of Native Red. They've had control of the shocks every single time they come off a spawn. 7 more kills, and they will close out this game number 2.
44 kills for Native Red, and Soul Snipe has been a part of 26 of them. Oh my god, if the game just ended right now, which it should soon, Soul Snipe would be responsible for more than half the slays. That is about as good of a performance as you can ask for in a team slayer.
What scares me the most is Native Red, and I've always said this, I think they're a very inconsistent team, but the thing that scares me the most is that they're a very momentum-based team and a momentum-driven team. So this win, this massive win that they're about to get, is going to really set them up for this game number 3. And there you go. Native Red tie the series 1-1 against FaZe.
And not only do they tie up the series, but they, I believe, take that momentum and energy edge into game 3 because of what I had previously mentioned, where FaZe was fragging out in game 1. My goodness, you did not want to run into the likes of Frosty, anybody on FaZe in that game 1. And then in game 2, outside of the overkill from Snakebite, we saw nothing from FaZe Clan that like we saw in that game 1. Instead, it was Soul Snipe, and I believe, who was the other player? Soul Snipe and Soul Snipe and Don't Look Now with 20 kills, but Druck had 17. Going into the end of that game, we were freaking out about Soul Snipe having 17, eclipsing and climbing into the 18, 19, 20, but Druck was right there alongside him with a 17 and 7 performance. Dare I say 2v4 in FaZe Clan.
Do you have a reset here, Mikowski? Do you sit back and just take a couple minutes, or do you generally, do you want to get into the next game? I feel like for me, taking a couple minutes here for FaZe might be the answer, but maybe, what do you think? They just brush that one off and move on?
Yeah, I think, well, what you're referencing there, Active, is almost like icing the kicker, right? Or you call a timeout before he has to go and kick that clutch field goal. I don't think we're quite there yet, because that would be more of a reference for a game 5, right? End of the game. 0-0 on the clock. That's kind of what the equivalent would be for a game 5 in esports versus sports. But here we see that incredible overkill, and he must have had the comms or the awareness or something from Manny, because that was a predict stick landed on the hip, but wasn't enough for FaZe Clan as they go down in that match, go down in this series, or excuse me, tied in the series now 1-1. Native Red looking strong though, with a chance to take the lead in the series.
Right now, it looks like FaZe starting off the game very hot though. 4 dead momentarily. Soul Snipe and Talik are the first 2 to spawn. FaZe take control of C. They've got B as well, and they force the spawns onto the Cafe side. Now it's up to Renegade on the top C side to prevent this push from happening. You see 2 dead on that purple side, so that's going to be 2 kills initially here, and it'll allow FaZe to continue to get these points on the board.
Love that opening there from Renegade. I love that little angle. You see he was kind of sneaking through the crack from C all the way through to A as he was able to secure C. But B and A go in favor of Native Red. So despite a good start for FaZe Clan, it looks like Native Red has control of that B side, and they're rotating to A, but it's being contested. Renegade now in a situation where he's got to pinch the rest of this team because he's got to catch up. He's a little out of the play right now.
The only thing scarier than Native Red with momentum is an angry FaZe, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. It's only the start of the game, but we've got all players on FaZe with, the Snakebite with 4 and 2 already. Frosty having a little bit of a better game than previous. As I say that, 2 caps on the board here for Native Red. They've got this C control as well, but Renegade has the Bulldog and the Stalker. He needs to stay alive with these 2 weapons. These 2 weapons are literally the 2 most powerful weapons on this map, and having control of these on the side of FaZe will really allow them to take control and take space on the map.
And I think here on a game type like Strongholds, this is the game type that is probably most dependent on slays outside of course, Team Slayer, because of the fact that all of those slays lead to cycling, staggering spawns, and those trip caps like we see here for Native Red. But despite that, the slaying proficiency in a Strongholds you'd imagine would be in FaZe's favor, but after that incredible game 2 from Native Red, they're looking a little bit more competitive in the slaying department here in this objective. It's about even in the kill feed, and it's Native Red though with the objective efficiency up big to start. despite despite not having the slays.
Yeah, they end up going 3 down though, so this is maybe the moment for FaZe to come through here. I don't know what happened to those rockets though. We saw that play by Renegade in the mid, unsure of where to go. Those rockets might still be in play, and they are in the hands of Soul Snipe, and he utilizes them to do damage to FaZe. That's 3 down on both sides. It's a 1v1 Druck versus Frosty, but Frosty's gonna take advantage of his life and get this B cap.
Yeah, that's almost like a trade win there for Frosty, just in the sense that he gets B and Druck is left to chase after it to prevent it from flipping to FaZe. But because of that positioning and decision there from Frosty, didn't want to engage in that 1v1, had the opportunity to, but focused on the objective instead. That's great objective efficiency there from FaZe Clan. And I keep mentioning that word, but I really think that this series, with 2 teams that love to slay out, it's going to come down to the efficiency for both.
I 100% agree. I think you're absolutely right. I think that's one of the things that we really need to focus on in the rest of this series, especially with the series being tied 1-1. Right now, Native Red has that objective efficiency down, but FaZe answering back here with 2 caps on the board. They're allowing Native Red to spawn at C side, but it looks like, as I say that, they decide to collapse and try to go for this triple cap. The only problem is they are going to lose A. It's up to Renegade to defend on B.
Native Red now in a defensive positioning where FaZe Clan has regained control of C and B and look primed to tie this one up as Druck is the last player alive. Takes the piv against Renegade, but he's probably going to get taken out by one of the other players. No! Tolic took down Renegade, or Renegade traded with Druck, so that was a little bit of a mixy scenario where it looked like FaZe had the numbers to not trade out there on B, but instead they do because of it. You're seeing some score turning here for Native Red on B and C.
Yeah, but once again, look at FaZe with the power weapons in hand. The rockets, that rocket, snake bites. Just no more rockets for you. It's bad luck, man. The rockets will not be effective there once again. Renegade though gets a kill on the C side. I think there's potentially one more rocket on that B side. I don't know if Manny ended up picking that up. Maybe they are out, but regardless, all the while, even though maybe these power weapons aren't being utilized as best as possible, FaZe has had constant control of them in the duration of this game.
FaZe, rockets, and streets, an equation that does not quite add up for them as the grenade exploded to send that rocket astray. That's just unfort right there. As FaZe, that's fortunate though, they regain the lead. So here's the difference though. Had a similar play where a rocket didn't quite exactly do what they wanted it to do in that matchup against SSG, sort of lost composure, didn't have the ability to regain. Here, right off of that moment, it's FaZe Clan regaining the lead, so showing some signs of improvement here in this tournament.
I'm seeing a lot more 1v1s being won as well, and you generally don't want to take 1v1s, of course, in the wise words of Walshy. Good players win 1v1s. Great players don't take 1v1s. But when you're in that situation where you need to win them, you got to have a player that can do just that. And Renegade on your screen, he hasn't lost one in a while here. And this is what we like to see potentially out of Renegade. Being in a situation where he can take these fights and consistently win those low percentage fights, that is what makes him one of the best players in the world. And again, the power weapons in hand, let's see if we can utilize these to go for this triple cap.
All right, and despite the map and game mode switching up from game 1, I'm sensing the exact same thing where FaZe is starting to kind of brute strength it with the slays. You have multiple players that are double 3 out of 4 of FaZe's players are double positive. Renegade plus 10, Snakebite 17 and 9, Frosty 2.0 exactly on the dot, and then you have Royal 2 sort of providing support with the most assists. FaZe looking really strong here, slaying out with the objective efficiency to boot. So this is a scary sight if you're Native Red.
Absolutely is. Once again, another scary sight here. Renegade, rockets in hand, 17 and 10. Make that 18 and 10 out of Snakebite as well. 3 players from FaZe, like you had mentioned, in double digits in kills. Rockets. Pollock's going to go down here shortly. Another kill potentially on the Manny will get cleaned up, and that'll be B for FaZe. Regardless, they're able to push back all of Native Red to force the spawns on the Cafe side here shortly, and they get control of B and C once again.
Massive stagger scenario here for FaZe Clan as they could really put Native Red in a blender to close out game 3 and take that edge into game 4. Snakebite looking to push up here on the B rail, has support from his teammate. Because of that, knows he can extend through, doesn't spot anything. and is right now just playing for intel, playing for a little bit of damage. He can call back to his teammate on the rail to help out here, as I believe his teammate does just that with the stalker rifle, no less. So FaZe has their processes really well planned out right here. But Snakebite goes down. Native Red mounting a little bit of response here when they need it most. 200+ points for FaZe.
Yeah, Snakebite was trying to put damage in so that Frosty could clean up those kills, but unfortunately it was a little too much as 2 players from Native Red ended up pushing in there. Because of that, Native Red is going to get C and now going for that B cap as well. And with this positioning that Manny has on this top C side, it's going to be difficult for FaZe to push on through. You see it right there. He's the last player alive, but he's able to prevent the push and put massive amounts of damage in. Regardless of that, though, the A does get reset, and now FaZe going for this triple cap.
Flip spawns for FaZe is that should flip A and C as it does, unless FaZe can, oh, okay, I was about to say, if FaZe can close the gap with these rockets here, they might have a trip cap to close this game out. Instead, it's Native Red scoring on B despite having all 3, now 4 down. That'll stop the scoring. FaZe Clan, match point.
And now they're going to be able to know where these spawns are happening. You see 2 players are on that C side. Soul Snipe does spawn out. Roll 2 is aware of that. Native Red, though, they end up getting C. Now they're moving over to B. I believe they got a red room spawn there, but that's going to be a double cap for them once again. And now Roll 2 does not have the shotgun to utilize.
Kill.
It's a big lead for FaZe, but could this possibly be the moment where Native Red bring it back?
I just don't know if they have the damage numbers on the map to sort of bully FaZe the way that you would need to here on Street Strongholds to come out with a dub. Frosty pulling now with that Bulldog, takes down one opponent, trades out instead, but it's still numbers advantage for FaZe as they look to ride this all the way to the finish.
8 seconds and counting. A will be contested there, but they're going to trade off for B.
Stronghold captured.
1 down for the side of Native Red. And as 1 spawns, Manny does go down once again. 2 seconds in counting. They do get C contested to stop that, but A will be taken here momentarily. A's looking to close this out. Native Red making it extremely difficult. And it's Roll 2 to prevent any push happening towards B. There it is. And that will be FaZe up 2-1 in the series, and an answer back that was necessary for FaZe after that very convincing Game 2 win out of Native Red.
That's especially concerning for Native Red, as they might just be out of the tournament if this continues for them, where FaZe, that game 3, the slaying proficiency matched the objective efficiency as they were able to win by a margin of 100 points on Street Strongholds on the backs of those insane slays from FaZe Clan. The stats are ridiculous. I think you may have even had a triple positive. I'm looking at the end results: 24 and 14, plus 10 for Frosty, 22 and 8 for Renegade. Royal 2 had the lowest plus kill death ratio at +2. But he had a lot of assists, and then Snakebite 23 and 14. So just about every 3/4 of the team going double positive. Yeah, there's just really nothing you can do at that point, despite the fact that Native Red has shown that this almost goes to show how strong Native Red is objectively. The fact that they could be getting slayed out like this and not losing 250 to 50 is honestly impressive.
That's a really good point, and you said it earlier too, and I like the way you put it. FaZe Clan, though, you know, they built this roster for a reason, to take out the top team and to slay, right? And they're able to brute force. You said it. That's a perfect way to put it, in my opinion. That's exactly what they're doing. When you've got this many individual skilled players on one team, you're allowed to do stuff like that. You're allowed to brute force. It scares me a little bit to think about what this team will be when they get that chemistry really locked in and they're able to really hone in on that objective efficiency as well. Because right now, their objective efficiency is not as good as most teams, but their slay capability is just levels above.
And now heading into a Game 4 recharge, King of the Hill, Native Red is really going to have to be on point, much more so than they have been with the objective up to this point. Let's just say the slaying continues here for FaZe Clan. I still think Native Red can win this game if they proactively rotate to hills that they're going to lose. They don't also desperate for hills that they have no chance of winning. And that A hill, that money hill, you gotta win if you're Native Red. Those are the 3 keys for them heading into Game 4. If they can do that, we should be heading to a Game 5.
Here we go. Game number 4, a chance for Native Red to answer back. FaZe, though, with the momentum going into this game. The winner of this will play Space Station Gaming, And if FaZe end up winning, they'll have their rematch that they're looking for.
And
Who
I'm
will
telling
come out
you,
on top.
And I'm telling you, Active, this FaZe clan, they're like a rabid dog chomping at the bit to get that rematch against SSG, where they felt like they didn't beat themselves, didn't get beat by SSG. They really felt like they lost the mental battle after that rocket miss or whatever happened in that sequence. So I'm expecting a even stronger bounce back here from FaZe, despite the fact that they just won even that previous game.
Well, they do get 3 down here. Aware of the spawns on to A side. Renegade, camo, and shock rifle. Gonna utilize it to get 1. They've got the kill. They've got the damage. I'm sorry, on another. There's the double kill for Renegade, and there you go. All 4 down for Native Red. Renegade controlling the spawns on the C side, and they force the spawns onto A again.
It really makes me even wonder, like, what happened in game 2 for FaZe Clan? Because if they brought this same Slay energy in the objectives to that Slayer, we wouldn't even be in this game 4. This would be a 3-0 sweep as FaZe Clan continues with their domination, outslaying Native Red, riding that to a first hill capture here as they look likely 75%, but Native Red scoring as well and control of the hill right now.
Yeah, they've got the shock rifle as well. Talik with the double kill. That's going to be huge. He needs to get this kill on the World 2, though, if he wants to get the control of C Plat. He does. Ends up going down with the trade. That was 3 down momentarily for Native Red, and now Renegade's got the top glass control, and you see they're rotating over towards pipes. They're trying to prevent this setup from happening on this long haul side.
All right, well, that's one of the 3 keys that Native Red has not been able to put in the ignition of the vehicle, is they need to start driving fast. Druk doing just that, doing great, taking down Renegade out, almost aggressing him and continuing through all the way to the hill, but 4 go down for Native Red. So that aggressiveness that they want to play with is also almost like a double-edged sword. It's the reason they went all 4 down.
Yeah, they're known as one of the most aggressive teams in the game, but you're right. Being too aggressive at moments like that, we saw the movement out of Druk. Probably one of the better movement players in the game, but it didn't work out for him. He ends up going down quickly, and now you've given FaZe a complete setup here on this long haul side. But you see how aggressive Native Red is. They go 4 down. Frosty the last player alive, but their aggressiveness turns into 4 dead 2 times in a row now.
6 kill disparity, 6 kill lead here for FaZe. Want to try to keep an eye on that because I think it's a really it's the most interesting stat for FaZe because of their ability to slay out, right? So it's important to keep an eye on just how wildly they are slaying out as they're doing a really good job. Another 3 down potential stagger here as they take Manny down, a little delayed after the other 3 went down. Native Red, they're in a blender.
You know what's scary to me, Mikowski, is like every single player on this roster has a chance. And I call it flipping the switch because, I mean, it's just all these players have that switch that they flip and they just turn up. Every single player on this squad has the ability to do just that. And we're seeing it out of World 2 in this game. 10-4 to start this game. We saw it out of Renegade in the game previous. We saw it out of Frosty in game number 1. Every player, like, what do you do when every single player on the roster is a player that you need to shut down? I mean, this is going to be very difficult for Native Red to bring this back. But as I say that, halfway through this hill number 3.
Native Red fortunate that on this money hill, after going all 4 down, spawned right on top of it. So the game doing them some favors here, bringing them back in this one almost, as FaZe has had a difficult time pushing all the way through, taking 3 down. Talik, last player alive. They are in fact going to push through and start the scoring. Now it's going to be on Native Red to break the setup of a money hill. If not, going down 3-0 is going to be devastating for Native Red.
Druk had an opportunity there to break that with the shock rifle, but he ends up going down quickly. A trade that should not happen there out of World 2, but Native Red get the hill anyway. And now they can move on and get control of this bottom blue pipe side. And it's going to take Soul Snipe, taking this player off of glass here. He's going to get crushed off from glass. He ends up staying alive regardless. The nades come out, and this is where the problem lies. FaZe has control of the top glass. World 2 ends up going down there. So that's the break that the Native Red need. Talik making the play. Once again, we see that play out of Native Red so often. They utilize that repulse side. And because of that, they gain full control. They've got 2 dead on the side of FaZe, and they start to get hill time on this 4th hill.
Talik too fast. Does it look like he rode in on a zip line? taking down 2 members of FaZe Clan. Looking at a third, and Renegade. Look at Renegade getting baited, chasing it for Tolic. Unbelievable play by Renegade in a 1v2 to take him down. That was a great trade from him. Despite the fact that he goes down, doesn't earn himself any hill time for his team. That was an extremely difficult situation to be in. Almost overextended a little bit, but got the end result. Got the job done. Took down Tolic and did a great job earning a tough trade.
Snakebite gets a trade of his own as well. World 2, once again, like I said, having a massive game, 18-7, holding control here. All by his lonesome, 3 minutes and 28 seconds remaining. Not going to be able to clean up that kill onto Druck. Tries to get a different angle. He's got the grapple to work with. He wants to utilize that on the left side. He does not pick that up. He gets triple pushed. He's got the repulsor. That's why he pushes all of them back. Stays alive. Snakebite gets the double. He gets the cleanup on the third. All 4 dead for Native Red. And a repulsor now in the hands of World 2 once again.
And I can't recall 2 players being repulsed by the same player. There we saw 3 players for Native Red. And again, Active, it sort of goes to show Native Red's strength is playing aggressive, right? Native Red's strength is playing together, almost physically in proximity to each other. That was their downfall there, is that damage from the repulsor was enough to maintain this position and possession of the hill for Royal 2 and FaZe Clan, and it's not getting any easier for Native Red as Renegade has camo shot.
Scary situation here for Native Red, but they take him out quickly. That'll be a big kill. Soul Snipe has the shock in hand now. He gets one onto Snakebite, but they get the hill anyway. 3-1. He's not able to contest in time, and because of that, this hill will go towards that needle side. And you see FaZe already set up on the A anchor, waiting for Native Red to push.
Oh, and that is devastating for Native Red. Imagine you put in all that effort and time and work to take down 3 of the 4 members, and they still cap that hill. And because of the push and emphasis to take down 3-4 members of FaZe Clan there previously, Native Red didn't have that instantaneous rotation. They do get the first points on the board, but they didn't have that quick giddy up and go rotation that they need down 2.
Manny on the bottom side of A. A trade comes out. 1 down on each side here, but Native Red have control of the hill. FaZe are on the top tower side though, so no control of A will be had just yet. Got to get a couple picks on the board here. Tolic somehow stays alive and he comes out the challenge. That's 1 dead for FaZe here. 2 down for Native Red. Once again, FaZe continually able to trade out the kills. Native Red always seems to be down in numbers here consistently. They just don't have the numbers advantage because of the slays coming out from FaZe.
Yeah, and because of the time on the clock, Active, Native Red is just continuing to barrel towards a dangerous territory where the clock is an enemy, the deficit is an enemy, and of course FaZe, a pretty strong enemy opponent as well. So the odds are really stacking up against Native Red here.
You have Royal 2, who's gone 21-10 with 10 assists. What do you do?
Yeah,
this squad is just so powerful in every way in terms of slays, and what you pointed out in that very, that's, I believe it was that second game where I believe it was that either third game or first game, but the objective efficiency out of Native Red, it looked to potentially be able to carry them in this series. But now that we're seeing just some, everyone on FaZe playing really well, it just doesn't look like Native Red's going to be able to do it. And there it is, FaZe 3-1. And guess what? They get exactly what they wanted. They get the rematch versus Space Station Gaming. And this is going to be one to watch because, like you said, Mikowski, they wanted this rematch. They didn't think they played very well. They potentially got checked, like you mentioned. Now we get to see once again if we're gonna see a different story in that series.
Yeah, it just looks to me like this FaZe Clan roster is coming back with a vengeance. Obviously, that really poor performance in Game 2, but at this point, it's just a distant memory. It's a blip in a final score that will be remembered as a win for FaZe Clan, despite the domination from Native Red in Game 2. Ironically enough, Active, the Slayer, where throughout this series, you probably have a plus 100 for the likes of FaZe Clan. So incredible slaying efficiency throughout that game for FaZe, and you can almost see them throughout the series working on their objective efficiency as well. And if that is the FaZe Clan that comes up against SSG or even the likes of Optic, could see a back-to-back champ here this weekend.